I got a Glock in my Rari. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show live from the Xfinity Studios. J. Mike and Rudo coming to you. The Avs are taking on the Dallas Stars. It should be illegal to play a game on deadline day. Let's be honest. This is nonsense. This game is the fourth biggest thing that happened to the Avs today. Something like that. I don't know what to make of it. To be honest, it is a big game. If the Avs win, they go 8 points up on Dallas. If Dallas wins, it's a 4-point gap. Avs do still have a game in hand. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it seems a little hard to put a ton of stock into a game today, J. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many weird roster quirks to manage around, going back to your original point of why are we playing games on deadline day when every team that has something to play for is in the midst of shaking up their roster?
Yep.
But it's one of those, today was a win in the big picture sense, regardless of what happens in tonight's game. Yeah. Like, you could lose 5-1, and as long as it wasn't, crazy, like, obviously there's things I don't even want to talk about, injuries and whatnot, that would make today kind of feel like a bummer. But outside of that, I mean, it's hilarious that a game of this magnitude, Dallas coming in, having won 11 of 12, 10 straight, and now it just kind of feels like, yeah, it's the icing on the cake. I guess we'll watch some hockey tonight.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the bonus. We will get into some of the game at the latter half of this pregame, but yeah, let's be honest. Just look at the chat. Everyone wants to talk about Nazem Kadri, and I will right after the Common Spirit injury report. Because, Common Spirit, the official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos. Go check it out. No real changes for the Avs. Logan O'Connor did skate at morning skate in a normal white jersey by himself. Take from that whatever you want. The other guys are still out. Kiviranta, it's a concussion, not a lower body, but all good. He's still concussion. Lecky, we know, is week to week. Is what it is. The real injury report might be the Avs cupboards after today because there are no picks left for the Colorado Avalanche. But experience the difference Common Spirit makes. Go get yourself over to Common Spirit. You can go to mountain.commonspirit.org today to find a clinic near you. Again, the official healthcare of the Denver Broncos. But yeah, the real conversation. Nazem Kadri is once again an Av. P.S. Restocked. ALLCITY Network store. Go get the nasty shirt if you missed out on it the first time around. Things worked out pretty well.
I'm stoked. That was one I couldn't get the first time, and now I feel like I get to hit the tour on the second leg.
Yeah, the Run It Back tour. The Avs are, as I mentioned in the injury report, this is it. They're all the way in. The reality, at least for me, you can disagree if you want to. I don't think you will, J. Mike, but it's cup or bust, right?
Yeah, I mean, I understand there's some risk associated with these types of moves. You are objectively mortgaging a potential future to really do everything you can right now to give yourself a chance to win the cup, but you've got an aging Brock Nelson who's playing phenomenal. You've got Landy back. You've got two of the best 5 players in the world. If you're not going to go all in now, when would you go all in? And I just, to the people that love to nitpick of like, oh, they're going to regret that down the line, I would regret it a whole lot more if you did nothing and you come away with no cups out of this. Like, I know they already won 1, so it kind of feels like we're getting a little bit greedy to an extent. But this team has generational talent, and with the start that they had, it would have been malpractice to not do everything you can to load up, especially in a division that's, frankly, a murderer's row. Like, Dallas ain't going anywhere. Minnesota's hot right now. You need reinforcements.
Well, and I think that's what makes this Kadri move so important. Did Minnesota or Dallas go out and get a guy anywhere near the caliber of Kadri? And we'll get into who Kadri is at this point in his career in a minute. But if you go back to Quinn Hughes, sure, fair enough. But if we're looking at actually the trade deadline week or two, call it post-Olympic break, the Avs got significantly better than their direct competition, right?
I think so. I mean, you look at the potential when everybody's healthy in a perfect world lineup and the depth that you can roll out, especially through your top three lines. But now, I mean, your fourth line's been great, and it potentially even is more stable depending on how they shift the forwards here. Yeah. I am kind of interested to see how that plays out. I know Bednar made some comments today about both Kadri and is it Roy or Waugh?
It is Waugh.
It is Waugh. Waugh, having some potential to play, on the wing as well. So I am curious to see exactly how these lineups shake out and all of that. We know that Bednar loves to get creative. I don't know what it is on paper necessarily matters all that much.
Yeah.
But when you look at what this team can throw out at you, you have arguably the two best 2Cs of like the past decade with what Brock Nelson is doing. And then what Kadri did a couple years ago is obviously absurd. To think where this team was at, 15 to 18 months ago, and you have goaltending issues, and you've got concerns about everybody outside of those top three. To see where they're at now, it's pretty incredible.
It is. If you take them statistically this season, you have Nathan MacKinnon, who is one of the best 1Cs in the league. Brock Nelson, who is playing at a 1C caliber level as a 2C. Nazem Kadri, who, again, we'll get into the specifics here, but having a down year in Calgary is still producing at the rate of a decent 2C. And then either of Nick Waugh or Jack Drury as your 4C, who are both really probably more like 3.5C. It's the best center depth in the NHL by a decent margin, in my opinion.
I mean, who would even be in the conversation? You're better suited to talk about that debate than me, but like, who's even sniffing the Avs in that convo?
Vegas has a pretty good
They've got a nice lineup for sure.
Eichel, Hurdle, Carlson. I don't think it's as good as the Avs, but it's good. I don't know that anyone else really comes that close when it comes to center depth. Frankly, I don't know that anyone comes all that close to the Avs forward core as a whole at this point, assuming health. Obviously, injuries matter and all of that. But
yeah.
So they're really good, man. The reality.
Are you surprised they went this far all in? Like truly pushed all of the chips in the center of the table?
A little bit. I'm not like totally blown away by this. I guess it's just the order of operations of how it played out.
Do you think some of that has to do with leverage and kind of seeing what happened with Calgary? And I mean, it didn't seem, at least based on the earlier reporting, that they were super stoked on the idea of retaining salary. Kind of feels like the Avs waited and called their bluff, in my estimation.
Pretty much, yeah. I also think Kadri let Calgary know his feelings on the situation. I think that probably helped maybe move the boulder a little bit as well. But yeah, this played out the way it did because Calgary got to the final minutes and bent. It said, okay, we're going to look like idiots if we don't move him. So let's move him. Did what they had to do.
It is interesting to see the reaction to this move, just in the sense that it feels like both fan bases are ecstatic about how this played out.
They should be.
And I don't know how often you really see that.
Yeah, it's far more trades ends up with both teams losing than both teams winning a lot of the time. But this one makes sense for both teams. The Avs get the unbelievable depth and get to go all in a way that I don't know that I've seen a team go this all in my at least adult life. I mean, things were a little bit different before the salary cap era where teams would just go absolutely nuclear. But
that's what I was going to say. It's hard to compare like the early 2000s and some of those moves that got made because it's just a completely different world from team management, but it does give some shades of like going out and adding a Rob Blake to what was already basically an all-star team, you know, like it's leaning into your strengths and really just making yourself a juggernaut. It's pretty fun. I will say it kind of felt like it was ramping up to be it was a fine deadline. Like, you know, you get Waugh, you add some, you know, defensive depth. You feel pretty good. Frankly, the Avs are the best team in the NHL. Do they have to make a move? Like, you kind of talk yourself into those types of conversations. Then you get the little notification from Elliot Friedman, and it's just like, fuck them picks. Let's go for the cup. The Avs are all in.
Immediately. No second guessing that. Send them all. It's interesting in the sense of, again, Avs were going to get like a C+ on the deadline before the Kadri deal. But because they're the guys that made the big move. Of the Avs' direct competition, the Avs are the only one that made a big move at the deadline. And that turns a C+ into an A++. It's such a huge gap compared to Dallas and Minnesota. And now, unfortunately, the only guy that is going to play that's new in tonight's game is going to be Nick Waugh. Kadri will not be ready yet, obviously. But
probably not even here Sunday, depending on what happens with the immigration stuff, right?
Yeah, likely. There's a decent chance he doesn't play in either of the homestand games. I mean, you never know. Sometimes stuff gets expedited and it works out, but probably won't see him for a handful of games. With that being said, though, this is an Avalanche team that now has put pressure on itself, but look, Minnesota and Dallas are now looking up at a juggernaut that, while not in tonight's game, the multiple games the Avs have left against Dallas and Minnesota, that's going to be a scary team that they're going to have to figure out a way to try and beat.
I feel like you've got to just, if you're those teams, you're looking at your phone and just like, are you kidding me, man? Really?
Right.
Really? He did it again? Why do they take C-Max calls? Like, I feel like the other GMs around the league at this point have got to just be like, he's got to just be the smoothest talker. That's like the car salesman that sells you the car you don't need, and somehow you're driving off the lot with it. That man is wheeling and dealing.
I mean, it's definitely tough when you know Calgary, I can speak, is the one who called back. Like, C-Mac just left him on the hook, and Calgary's like, all right, fine, we'll do it.
Left him wanting more. Sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to be a little bit sly, play hard to get.
He knows how to work the phones. It's for real. For Kadri himself, there is some, call it what you want, prediction, expectation, trying to sift through the numbers. He's not going to play nearly as much as he did in Calgary.
Which is a good thing.
He was essentially their 1C, which it's going to be a better role for him in Colorado. And 2, Calgary is real bad. Like, real bad. So the question is, how much does the Avs environment help someone like Kadri? And from a vibes perspective, it's clearly great. Before the trade, we even knew what it was for. Kadri's on TSN going, I'm going to play with my buddies. I can't wait to get back with McKinnon and Landy. Let's go. So from that side, it's awesome. But I also think there's a very scary version. And is everything going to go right? We'll see. But if you get the Avalanche bump that people have been calling it with both Kadri and Nick Waugh, I'm sorry, it's over. You can wrap up the season. We're done.
I think what's really reassuring to me, at least in terms of Kadri, who I'm obviously far more familiar with his game than Waz. From what I've seen from Waz, I like it. I like that he's a big physical guy. I think that's something you could maybe use a little bit more of on some of those bottom lines. But Kadri, yes, you want to see an uptick in goals. I know his shooting numbers haven't been great. AJ kind of dove into that in his piece. Go check that out, thednvr.com. He really goes into the weeds here and dives into some of the nuances of this exact conversation. But one of the things that AJ hit on, and what I was really excited about, just thinking back to what he did, a couple years ago in that 87-point season, 59 assists, regardless of whether he's scoring goals, he's one of the best play drivers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you brought in another point guard, and his ability to elevate everybody else on the floor, I think that's really intriguing for guys like Nichushkin, who you'd like to see a little bit more goal production out of, and some of your other wings, So I think he's a guy who raises what was already an extremely high floor. And if he even scratches the surface of what he is capable of, the ceiling's the moon.
Should we start asking if Ball Arena has 13 bathrooms? Because the Avs roster flexibility is unlimited now. I really had to reach to make that one work. That was tough.
It's like, where's he going with this one? I'm gonna see where I'm gonna let him cook. I'll see what you're doing.
My point being, though, right now there's a lot of conversation around the Avs of, oh, where does Kadri play in the lineup? Oh, where does Nick Waugh fit? Oh, where does Jack Drury fit? This is, first of all, a potential expected lineup for the Avs, which absolutely stupid that those 12 names are on the same forward core. But you can take a further step than this of Waugh can play center if you want to move Kadri to the wing. If you want to move Kadri into the top six, Lehkonen and Landeskog have both been successful in their careers playing on a third line. Nichushkin has done some of that too. You can fit Kadri next to pretty much anyone in this lineup and expect good results. Kadri could play wing for you. Waugh can play wing for you. You have guys down your lineup that can move. This is roster depth and flexibility that on paper is at least as good as the Avs in 2022. And that was one of the most flexible lineups I've ever watched.
I just think it gives you that versatility, right?
Yep.
It's so wonderful. And obviously you hope to not see too many of these injuries add up here down the stretch. That's the one thing that could derail the wagon. But by going out and making these moves, you're going to be down Lehkonen for a little bit here. And even so, like, you don't really sweat it. Like, it just makes you feel so much better about any of those, oh, he's going to be night to night. That's all right. We're good.
Yeah. They're a fully healthy lineup makes Gavin Brindley, Zakhar Bardakov, and Yoel Kiviranta your scratches. Which are literally has been the Avs' fourth line for a decent portion of this season.
I mean, those are guys you feel comfortable playing. And even, some of the guys who are going to get slid down, like a Parker Kelly, same deal. It's like if he needs to come up and play on the third line for you, you feel content in that.
Yep. It's unreal to look at it that way. And look, obviously Colorado gave up the moon here. They traded 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, a fifth-round pick, Victor Olofsson off of their lineup, and then if you include Kulak, Girard, and another second, like that's it. That's 90% of their future is invested. So there was absolutely a price to pay here, but
yeah, there's opportunity cost associated, no doubt. But at the same time, I think some of that gets overstated because the cap's going to continue to rise in coming years. Additionally, you have the ability to offload some of these guys and maybe retain, reload the cabinet with some picks down the line 3-4 years from now. If you've won one cup, it's worth it. If you've won 2, I don't even care. You could be bad for half a decade at that point. It still would have been worth it. Don't hope to see that for our sake, but it would have been worth it.
That's future use problem. The Avs have been a perennial playoff team for almost a decade now. They've already won 1 cup. Do you want to sit around and say, we'll try to win another cup someday? Or do you want to try to win a cup right now? Because that's what the Avs did. They're trying to win a cup in 3 months. That's what these moves signify to me.
I feel like this is very much just a reaffirmation of how confident the front office is in this team's ability to make it through this year. And I'm still convinced, like, if they just get through Dallas last year, I think they make a run and maybe even win the cup. Now, they lost in the first round, so maybe that's not fair of me to say that. But I mean, it's the thing about this division, right? And again, I saw somebody tweet earlier, they were like, you might be better off being the wild card than you would be trying to be the 2 or the 3 in the Central right now.
If you're in the wild card race, you should desperately be playing for the number 1 wild card so you can get in the Pacific Division, because you are in hell. If you're playing in the Central side of the bracket, that is hell. That's straight up. I'm sorry, you're not making it.
I will say, and I don't want us to go too far on this and derail the program, but every time I look at the Central standings right now, I'm just a little bit more irked and irritated by the NHL's playoff format. It's been explained to me by very intelligent people, sources, and NHL reporters who I have a ton of respect for, and certainly are more in the know than myself, have defended it. I get it. You're trying to create drama, emphasize the rivalries and whatnot. But it's absurd that at least one of these teams is gone in the first round. Like, what are we doing?
Reseed.
When there's a 20-point gap between the divisions, like, it's just silly.
It's silly. It really is. The thing is, while the lineups are going to be wonky and wacky today for both teams, Dallas maybe more so because of injury than the actual moves that they made, this is an important game. You have...
No doubt.
Realistically, this will be game 61. So after tonight, there will be 21 games left for the Avs, 20 for the Stars. A clean win tonight puts the Avs 8 points up with 20 games to play for Dallas. That is far from mathematically secured, but in a world where the Avs are the best team in the NHL and you make a realistic assumption about the caliber of their play down the stretch, it's near impossible for Dallas to catch them if the Avs beat them clean tonight.
It would take an implosion that was unprecedented.
Yep.
I mean, the wagon would have to just completely go off the tracks at that point. And sure, anything's possible. You've seen teams have historic collapses and whatnot. But just based especially on how this team has responded out of the Olympic break, it just doesn't feel all that likely. And it was a bummer they dropped that game to Minnesota, but even so, second night to back of the back-to-back, you're 3-1 out of the break. And now you just got a hell of a lot better. Like, if you can dig deep and win this game, and it's a tough one on the road, no doubt. It's a hostile setting. They do their little stars clap all game long. Drives me crazy. Feel like you're on the moon in their press box. It's just insane how high it is. But it's going to be a playoff type atmosphere. And you know that Dallas is looking at this game thinking it's now or never. As hot as they are, that's what's crazy. They've won 10 straight. They've won 11 of 12. But because of what you said, if you lose this game, realistically, your chances of catching the Avalanche are just so slim. Especially because, I mean, if you're Dallas, like, you've still got to deal with some games against pesky Minnesota as well. Like, the odds of you winning all of these games against the top teams, it's just slim.
Yeah. I mean, if you go 20 or 18-2 down the stretch, then power to Dallas. But it's going to take something like that.
Credit to you if you do that in this division.
Right. If you pull that off, Dallas is probably going to win the division. But the Avs have an opportunity to stop that before it even starts tonight with Dallas.
If they went 18-2, that would mean they went like 28-2 over the final 30. Like, the absurdity of that.
It would be like one of the greatest runs ever.
They're really good. I mean, I'm not trying to speak this into the universe or anything like that. They are a scary team. They are, in part, why you're willing to make a move like this, because you do have a formidable foe who clearly, you know, especially given the way that those recent playoff series have gone, is capable of taking you down. So, like, this isn't a matchup you can overlook, despite us saying, like, it feels like regardless of what happens tonight, it's a win in the big picture sense because you feel so good about what this team can be moving forward. That said, I mean, if you drop this game at Dallas, you lose another game to Minnesota at home over the weekend. Now all of a sudden, that's a big glass of cool water on what's been a pretty epic party today on a snowy Friday in Denver.
It's about making yourself comfortable, right? You made all these moves. You know you're going to be a juggernaut of a team, but are you a juggernaut of a team that gets to chill for the last 10 games of the season? Or are you a juggernaut that's going full bore down to the end? And obviously, rested legs are better. You want a little bit of that if you're the Colorado Avalanche, and you have the opportunity to do that by winning on a night like tonight. And yes, the Avs lineup is going to be a little bit awkward tonight, but Dallas is missing multiple guys to injury. Dallas is dealing with their own trade management stuff. It's not an unfair playing field by any stretch for Colorado to go out there and beat them today.
You've got Nathan McKinnon. You've got the captain in the lineup. Disappointing, huh? Those say. Some have said. Looks pretty good the last couple of nights. I'm interested. If he scores again tonight, I'm gonna have to put my phone down because I'm gonna get in trouble starting media beefs.
I mean, he's been so good since the Olympic break. Him and Marty
That's
Necas.
one, like, if J. Mike, who's clearly on the bottom of the totem pole here in the hockey guy rankings, I'm slowly climbing. I'm putting in the work. I'm trying to get my 10,000 hours in. But like when I hear a take and I'm just left speechless to the point of, have you watched him? Like
the answer was clearly no.
Just baffling.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I didn't mean to derail us there, but yeah,
no.
I'm with you. This is a big opportunity. There's no excuses. You've got plenty of firepower to go out and win this game. And like you said, man, you look at the schedule here, it really feels like the Avs could win the division before the end of March, more or less. I mean, you look at that last 10, 12 games, multiple games against Calgary, St. Louis, like it's not a murderer's row there down the stretch. Yep. You could really go on cruise control.
It's an opportunity for Colorado. It's also an opportunity. Hey, if you take care of business against your direct competition, you beat someone like Dallas tonight. When you play them again in 2 weeks, Minnesota in there, you can control your own destiny and make those teams go away a little bit. We do have to get into our crystal ball. J. Mike, I know we haven't talked much about this game, but let's be honest. You all wanted to talk about Kadri. Give me a score. Give me a name. What's going to happen in this game?
I feel like maybe I'm just riding high. Man, my Rammies are hot. They've won 8 straight on CSU hoops. Just feels like things are going my way this week. So maybe today will be the humbling, slap back to reality. I'm always weary of the other shoe falling. That is the CSU fan in me, and that's well earned over the years. But I will say, just feels like all things are coming up Avs today. And I kind of feel like the Avs, maybe I look down at the end. I think they're going to thump them tonight. Give me 4-1 Avs.
I like it.
The crowd's completely out of it by the third. And the captain, impressively, scores for the third straight game.
I'm in for that. I hope that's the case. I'm worried the Avs follow their trade deadline game plan to a T once again. So it's going to be 2-2 with 30 seconds left, and the Avs are going to pull out the last-second heroics the same way they pulled this Kadri trade off to win 3-2. I am going to not overcomplicate this one. We're just going to go Cale Makar solves Jake Ottinger and never looks back and never has problems with missing the net ever again. That's what I'm taking.
If we get a big game out of him, man, like I might have to go get a lotto ticket or something.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Never bought one in my life, but hey, like if there was ever a moment, now is the time.
Know when you're hot, for sure. It's a big
going
key.
to Vegas next week for work, so I'm like, don't use all my good luck now.
Yeah. That will be how it plays out. You always mistime the Vegas trip. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna go through tonight's game, and I'm gonna watch my adrenaline fall off a cliff and pass out probably, but we're gonna go through this game anyway. Awesome day for an Avs. Great time to be an Avs fan. Y'all know the drill. We will be live for the watch along in a few minutes, but we're going to wrap up this pregame show. We appreciate all y'all hanging out with us today, and we will be back post-game, J. Mike and I, to break down whatever happens in this one. So we'll see you there. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show from the Xfinity studio.
We all silly like the mayor.